Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm painting some easy bees and some flowers using my Meeden watercolor paints and ask you a question. Have you ever wondered what bees have in common with French croissants? Well, we're going to find out. You know what it's like when you feel you have to do something and it's about the last thing you actually want to do. So you want to do something else and you don't know what it is that you want to do. So you don't do anything. You know that feeling? I'm having that feeling this morning. And what I want to do is I want to paint some bees on some flowers and something like this. And then I thought, oh, no, I can't do that because people won't be interested in that because some people won't like bees and some people won't like the way I paint bees. And so maybe I should do something else that's more popular. So, and this all started yesterday, and I've done a few things over the last few hours, which I'm kind of experimenting with. And this weekend, we're going to do another live on Sunday. And probably what I'm going to end up doing is something like this. Not like this. This I did and I don't like it. It's too dark. But something like this. Now, I'm still in the process of making up my mind. And right now, as I'm speaking to you at the beginning of this video, I can't decide whether to go ahead and paint this now or to do the bees and the flowers. What do you think I should do? This has been done before. I've done this before, although it's got some different features in it. It's mark making and it's got these sort of cross-hatched lines here, which I thought were quite nice because they give a sort of threadbare sort of effect. It's like fabric, you know, and this paper is Fabriano 50-50, I think they call it. It's 50% cotton Fabriano. I'm pretty sure you can get that from art shops in America. I know you can get it over here in Europe, obviously, and Australia, I'm sure as well. You can probably get it. There's a hair on my camera. Hang on. What next? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to do the bees. It's very, it's hard. I mean, everybody has this same problem when they sit down to paint. What shall I paint? Is it going to work out? Is it going to be a failure? Am I going to hate myself forever if I can't make this work? That's the good thing about mark making when it comes to paintings, because you can go over and over and over it until finally you get something that you sort of remotely like. But when you're doing it for a video, and I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. Last thing I would do is complain because I love doing this. It's the best thing that I've ever done in my whole long life. And I've had a few years to reflect on that. I'm picking up a pen, but it's probably the wrong one. What is this? A 0.2. This is a 0.2 Staedtler pigment liner. It's supposed to be waterproof. We'll see how that goes. And what I'm going to do then, without sounding manic, which I detect in my voice I'm beginning to, I'm going to draw some of my bees. And I like sketching, don't you? I do. And what I like about my bees is if you can like your own painting. Are you allowed to like your own drawings and paintings? What I like about them is something that someone said once when I just started the channel. And I was drawing bees a little bit more, in a bit more detail than I do now. Because if you look back, if you feel like it, you look back at some of the videos that we've done over the last 3 years. And we've got 750 videos on YouTube that you can watch. And some of them at the very beginning are, if you excuse me for saying so myself, are quite good. The paintings are quite good because I was painting the way I've always painted, which isn't necessarily quite good. I don't mean that. I wouldn't want to say that, would I? What I mean is I was putting an awful lot of time into each individual painting. I don't quite have as much time as that now. So if you look back at some of them, you'll see that some of them are quite detailed and so on, and probably too detailed, actually, for a lot of people. So some of them haven't had that many views because probably they're a little bit too difficult. But anyway, so there's a bee, and rather than rambling on and drawing lots of bees, I'm going to colour him in, and then we'll go from there. So just as a first one. Oh, anyway, so what I was going to say was this person, nice chap. This is when I had chaps. I must have been younger in those days, 2 years ago. I had chaps watching, and we don't get many chaps nowadays, which is great. I like chapesses as well, as much, if not more, than chaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour this one in. He said, oh, I love the way you draw your bees. They look like croissants, which I thought was very kind of him to say. And they do, in a way. They, well, at least not, this one doesn't really, but often they do. And I thought that's quite appropriate since I live in France, that I would be painting bees which are shaped like croissants. Or I think in America, do you say croissant or something like that? It's a bit like yeah, well, I'm English. I say things a little bit differently. But anyway, so there's the first bee, and we're going to carry on now to number 2B. We put one over here. And what I do is I start off with the head like that, and then I imagine, I sort of think of all of those nice segments that you have on a croissant, just gradually getting smaller. I don't know if that's helpful. Then I put the 2 antennae on and just sweep out a couple of wings here really lightly. And then I only give my bees 4 legs because I find them a little bit intimidating if they've got 6. So I give them 4, and I say, you're going to have to imagine you're legless. You know, English people will get that joke. Nothing wrong with being legless, so that's another one. And let's put another one down here, and we'll have him looking a little bit more face onwards. And no, I haven't been eating chocolate, and no, I haven't had too much coffee. So if you think I sound slightly manic, I can't say why that would be. So we put a couple of wings there as well. And he needs an eye and some antennae, and then his legs. He's a little bit closer than the others. So I hope this is going to go okay. And then I'm going to put some flowers in between. So let's do a couple of flowers. Oh, I should have said what I'm using for the paints. I'm using this Meeden set, $16.95. These are, you can get them, oh, I hurt my arm then, from our website. If you go to our website, we've got links there to take you. And if you follow that link, you'll find a code for you to get an extra 10% off. These are Meeden colours here. This is the light yellow. This is red. This is, I can't remember, and that's this is violet, and this is purple, yes. And this is sap green. That's a Paul Rubens turquoise, and that's a Meeden yellow ochre. And this is a Meeden palette, which I quite like. It's got plenty of spaces to put the colours in, and that's what I do. I tend to squeeze them out of the tubes and I put them in the palette, and then I paint from there. And I'm not too precious about colours being contaminated. I don't think it matters as long as it's not contaminated with anything poisonous. Yeah, so that's the way I do it. Okay, so let's do our next bee. Paint that section yellow. I was trying to think how you could do embellished bees and so on. Oh, I have some black here in a separate little dish. This is also Meeden black. How you could do embellish them, you know, what could you do as marks over the top to make them look more whimsical? And I haven't come up with anything, but without turning them into sort of cartoons, and I don't really want to necessarily do that. But yeah, I might give that some thought and work on that. So that's the yellow section. Another yellow section there. there are all sorts of different bee designs. So, if mine don't look like the bees that you see in your garden, that might be just because you've got a different type. I mean, these don't really look like bees, do they? But they're fun. I'm just putting the paint on quite thinly there, so it's got a little bit of, what do you call it? Dry brush effect, that's right. And then sometimes I do the wings in just black, but you could just put a little bit of blue on your brush and do some dry brush there, just to give the feeling of, the ethereal look of a wing, because they don't really have much in the way of colour. They're just kind of a blur, aren't they? When did you ever see a bee's wing? Probably never. I'm going to come back and tidy up their eyes later in a minute. But first, I'm going to put in some flowers. And I think I'm going to just use these nice pinks. And I'm going to just dash in some colour. I really don't want to do anything finicky. I've gone right off finicky recently. Yeah, so we'll go for rough and ready, and then we'll do some line work on top of the flowers. And just give me a second, and I will do some leaves. This paper is Lavis Fidelis. This is Lavis Fidelis, which is an Arches watercolor paper. Okay, so I've heard one or two people who are knowledgeable say that the Meeden paints are not transparent enough to be able to paint in layers, but that's actually not true. They are. So if you've bought them and you're worried because you think you might not be able to do layered transparent painting with them, don't worry, they will be fine. And I'm just really very sketchily coming in here with some stems, and then we'll put some leaves in. And from watching me before that I like to sharpen up my shapes after having put in the colour. That's something that I've been doing recently. So we'll probably put in a bit of spatter as well, and then I might pick up a bit more. If you put black into green, you get a darker green, which is quite nice. Like that. That's just this dark green that you can see that I'm using now is just literally black in sap green. Black, yeah, just black. Not Payne's grey or anything else complicated. It's just black. I'm going to come back with a bit more black now and just put some dark areas on the bees, just keeping them really loose. Try not to be intimidated by the complexity of a subject. Don't imagine that you can't do it just because you've not done it before. And please don't think that the only kind of painting that you can do is just, mark making, because you can do mark making, that's lovely, but that's not the only thing that's worth doing. It's worth doing other things too. So I'm going to dry this now so that we can sharpen it up a bit. So I've got this is a Winsor & Newton black fineliner, and I'm going to use this to finish off the eyes of the bees, and I'm just going to make a nice dark circle there. And then I'm going to use white as well to give me the shape of the eye. And the legs, they tend to be quite fat near the top, and then they get thinner as they go down. So like that. And the antennae can be a bit tricky, just try and keep that reasonably. And then just a few indications of the veins there. And you can do sort of sticky out bits if you want, because they're often quite fluffy. But, that'll do. Once it's got its eye in, it's not too bad. You can sort of see. And just leave a light at the top. And then some light down the bottom, and just cover in some of these white bits that I left there. Then go to the white. Just a partial circle there to give you the shape, and sharpen it up again with the dark pen. Okay, and then the legs, just make them a little bit darker. Why do I keep thinking about Prince Harry and Prince William? What's going on in the royal family at the moment? I keep having them go through my head. Isn't that ridiculous? Do you have that happen? You know, you're just sitting there quite calmly thinking about what you're going to have for dinner because you're feeling a bit peckish. And all of a sudden, somebody who you've got nothing to do with, like, I don't know, Tom Jones or the Prince Harry, they pop into your head and you're like, go away. You have that happen? Isn't it silly? Okay, so antennae coming out here. And that one will do. He's fine. Now this one, and let's give him his eye as well. Antennae. So I'm just enjoying a little bit of, a bit of a sketchorama here, really. Like I said, I only give them normally my bees 4 legs because 6 legs starts to look like a train wreck. So we just keep that a little bit impressionistic. And let's just tidy that up a little bit, just a little bit around there. And then a little bit. So having done that, now I have to decide what to do about the flowers. And one thing you can do, if you have some brush pens with some nice colours, these are Poetique. This is a set of Poetique pens. And you can just, I think that's a little bit too dark. I want a slightly lighter pink now. Right. How about that? I'm just going to do some scribbles, because scribbles are fashionable at the moment, aren't they? Notice that? It's good. Yeah, scribbling is good. Yeah. This one. That's it. Don't be too careful. And then we want something for the leaves, and I'm just trying to decide. I think I might go for the black outline on the leaves. Not that thickness, that's the wrong one. Let's go for the thick one. The reason for going for the black is because I want it to sort of balance off the bees. So we'll just really loosely make these leaves, because we're going for a really, impulse-driven painting here. So impressionistic and loose. And sometimes I think sometimes that when you put these last lines in, it just throws the whole thing up into relief. And you can also, if you feel like you haven't got quite enough leaves, you can put in a few more which are just pen without the paint, and then sometimes that gives you the idea of then coming back with a little bit darker, perhaps. Maybe partly paint it, partly, not all of it, or just go over part of it like that. And this kind of painting is quite exciting. I hope you decide to try it because it's fun. And there you are. We've got some bees. We might want to add a little bit of shadow to the colour of the bee where it's yellow, just to give it a bit more realism. But don't do the shadow in grey or anything. Do the shadow in yellow ochre like I have there. So there we are. I've missed out one of my flowers. Let me just give him some scribbles. I wouldn't want him to be, like Prince Harry, all very upset at being left out of the royal family. So I like these scribbles. We can just do a few more hither and thither. Okay, and maybe one over here. Right, I'm going to call that a day. There we are. We have a family of bees ready to pollinate these lovely flowers, and I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a try and see what you think. You never know, you might be inspired. So I'll say goodbye for now. Oh, by the way, if you're still here, should have remembered, but I had forgotten, don't forget to go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. We're going to be sending out once a week a newsletter which is a summary of what we've been doing and all sorts of other interesting things as well. So I won't ask you to do anything else except visit our website, dianeanton.com. I'll see you there. Bye for now. Bye-bye, everybody.